Lesson 6, Public Transportation. Welcome to Lesson 6 of the Everyday English Speaking course about public transportation. First, let's learn some vocabulary. The central place in the city where you go to get a bus or a train is called a station, bus station, or train station. The different points where you can get on or get off a bus or train are called stops. Another word that is often used in train stations is platform. This is the area inside the station where you wait for the train. We use the verb take to describe general use of buses and trains. For example, I took the bus from New York to Philadelphia. You need to take the 3:15 train if you want to get there by 6. We use the phrasal verbs get on and get off to describe the specific actions of entering and leaving the bus or train. You can also transfer from one bus to another bus or from one train to another train. For example, if you want to go to the museum, get off at the next stop. You need to get on the B train and then transfer to the L train. Finally, bus and train systems have lines. Lines are the regular routes that the buses or trains travel. Each color on the map below represents a line in the subway. The black dots are stops. Conversation number 1, asking for information. Excuse me, does this bus stop at Central Park?
No, this is the express bus. You need to take the M53 local. You just missed it.
Oh, no. How often does it come?
Every few minutes. You won't have to wait long.
Okay. How far is it to the park?
About 7 or 8 stops.
Thanks. Could you tell me when we get to Central Park?
Sure, no problem.
Do you mind if I sit here? No, go right ahead.
Ma'am, you can get off here for Central Park.
Conversation vocabulary and phrases. Whenever you want to talk to someone you don't know, you can begin by saying, "Excuse me." If you're not sure if a bus or train goes to your destination, you can use these phrases. Does this bus stop at? Does this bus go to? Is this the bus to? Fred informs Nancy that it's an express bus and she needs to take the local bus. An express bus or train is one that does not make all the stops. It skips, passes some stops. A local bus or train makes all the stops along the way. He also tells her that she just missed the bus. The bus departed before she arrived. In English, we always say missed the bus, train, or flight, not lost the bus, train, or flight. To ask about the time of a bus or train, you can say, how often does it come? Every hour. Every half hour. Every 10 minutes. When's the next bus, or when's the next train? At 6:45. In 20 minutes. Not until 8. Not until is used when there will be a long time to wait. And to ask about distance, you can say, how far is it to? How many stops until? How long does it take to get to? The person might respond in number of stops, as in the conversation, or in number of minutes, like about 15 minutes. Nancy wasn't sure when to get off the bus, so she used this phrase to ask the driver to tell her. Could you tell me when we get to Central Park? You can ask this to the driver or to another passenger on the bus. When it's time, the other person will say, you can get off here, or this is your stop. Unfortunately, if there is a problem, then the other person might say, you missed your stop. We already passed it. You're on the wrong bus. This bus doesn't go to Central Park. Finally, if you want to sit down, but you're not sure if there is a person occupying the seat or if a person has put their bag on the seat, you can say, "Do you mind if I sit here? Is this seat free? Is this seat taken?" Conversation number 2, buying a ticket.
Hi, I'd like a ticket to Boston, please.
One way or round trip?
Round trip, leaving tomorrow morning and coming back on Saturday afternoon.
Okay, what time do you want to leave? The train to Boston runs every hour on the hour, starting at 6 a.m. The 6, 7, and 8 a.m. trains are peak hours.
Then I'll take the 9 o'clock train.
And on Saturday afternoon, there are trains leaving Boston at 2:30, 4:30, and 6:30.
Actually, maybe I'll just buy a one-way ticket now, 'cause I'm not quite sure what time I want to come back. Can I buy a ticket on the train?
Yeah, but it's going to be more expensive.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll take the 4:30 train. How much is the fare?
It's $24 each way, so that comes to $48 total.
Is there a discount for students?
Yep, I'll just need to see your student ID.
Here you go. Can I also have a copy of the schedule?
Sure. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. To ask for a train ticket, you can say, "I'd like," or "Can I have?" Then complete the sentence with a one-way ticket if you only want a ticket from New York to Boston, or a round-trip ticket if you want a ticket from New York to Boston and a return ticket from Boston back to New York. The agent says that the train runs every hour on the hour, meaning exactly at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, etc. Some buses and trains have more expensive fares for peak hours. Peak hours are times like 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 7 p.m., when many people are going to work or coming home from work. An off-peak train is usually less expensive. Brian says, "How much is the fare?" The word fare is a special word that refers to the price of transportation tickets. He also asks about a discount for students. You can also say, "Is there a discount for children?" Or, "Is there a discount for senior citizens?" A senior citizen is someone who is 65 years old or older. Conversation number 3, getting a taxi. A taxi is sometimes also called a cab. There are 3 ways to get a taxi in the United States. First, you can phone a taxi service and arrange for a taxi to pick you up at a specific time. To do this, you can say one of these phrases. "I need a taxi to pick me up at 241 Main Street at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning." "I'd like a taxi as soon as possible. I'm at 1185 Brooklyn Avenue." The second way to get a taxi is to go to a place where there are many taxis already waiting, like outside the airport or train station. Finally, you can hail a taxi. That means call a taxi on the street. To do this, you stand close to the street and extend your arm when you see a taxi coming. Let's look at a conversation you might have with the taxi driver. "Could you take me to the Green Tree Hotel on 7th Avenue and 32nd Street?" "How much will it be?" "Okay, and how long does it take to get there?" "Sounds good." "Yes, these 2. "Are we almost there?" "Great. How much do I owe you?" "Here's 30. Keep the change." Conversation vocabulary and phrases. To tell the taxi driver your destination, use the phrase, "Could you take me to?" Some taxis have a flat rate, that's a fixed price for the trip, and others use a meter, that's the equipment that increases the price depending on the distance. Before you get into the taxi, it's a good idea to ask, "How much will it be?" and "How long will it take to get there?" If the ride is taking longer than you expected, you can ask, "Are we almost there?" or "How much longer?" For paying, use these phrases. "How much do I owe you?" or "How much is it?" In the United States, it's common to give a taxi driver a tip. That's extra money for the service. The tip should be about 15% of the fare. You can do this by giving the driver extra money and saying, "Keep the change," if you want him to keep all the extra money. Or, if the fare is $12 and you give the driver $20, you can say, "Just give me back $5," so the driver will keep $15. Finally, if you want to get out of the taxi early, you can say, "You can let me off here," or "This is fine." The taxi will then pull over, go to the side of the street, and stop so that you can get out. You've finished Lesson 6. Now take the quiz to test your memory of the phrases from this lesson.